Alrighty, so New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. We knew this game was coming. We would have wanted Mario Maker, but this came out instead. But does it still hold up as a great game, or does it just flop like a bad game? Well, let's find out. So let's first off get into the presentation of the game. It's very similar to the other New Super Mario Bros. Games. If you guys don't know, they are so bland, and yeah, there's too many of them. And this one right here was originally released on the Wii U all the way back in 2012. And keep in mind, this was actually the first time Mario ever got into HD officially. But presentation-wise, the game doesn't show itself too bad. I mean, it is just another new Super Mario Bros. Game, which, yeah, it is one thing, but hey, it's the only one on Nintendo Switch, and you know, it does look way better than it's on the Wii U. Like, it presents itself way better. It really does feel like it's more of a deluxe version rather than just being a straight up port like it was with Tropical Freeze. And graphically, the game looks really good. It looks good docked and undocked. I mean, again, yeah, it doesn't look perfect. It's not going to look anything like Tropical Freeze does. But still, it still looks really good. It really does look good. Now let's get into the story. Peach gets kidnapped, go and chase after her. I could not come up with a better story. Next, let's get into gameplay where things really start to shine. Essentially, it's Mario. Essentially, you get from point A to point B. Platforming, 2D platforming levels. You jump, you run, you use power-ups, and yeah. Really, there isn't a lot to describe the gameplay, but I will tell you, it's a lot of fun. Because, yeah, it's very, very simple. There's not really a whole lot to it, but that's what makes games good, in my opinion. I like it when games can make it a bit simple in gameplay, so that way it can be used to great amounts. And really, there's not a whole lot to really say. I mean, it's Mario. What do I say? The only real thing I could talk about are the power-ups. You got your mushroom, which I guess the fire flower, which is what you think it does, the ice flower, which does what you'd think it does, the acorn suit, which is pretty much a much better version of the propeller suit because, hey, you can glide around and you can get a little boost up. That's so cool. You can use the helicopter suit and the penguin suit as well, along with the mini mushroom, which doesn't really count as a power-up, so scratch that off the list. And the invincibility star, just to name some of them. But yeah, gameplay-wise, really, really solid. I mean, it controls just how you want it, which was the segue because controls. The thing is, this game controls really well, but the main difference this time around from the original to this one is that when you're in the air and you press A or B, or however you jump, if you press the jump button while you're in the air, you'll actually do a little twirl. Now, this isn't too bad, but this can make things very annoying at times because, I don't know, it just feels wrong. It feels like they should just program it to ZL or ZR, which it is programmed to ZR, but it's not programmed to ZL. What the heck? Why can't you do something about that? Oh, well. But really, the game controls really well. It just controls how you want it to. Not much else to really say on that. Then let's get into content. Now, this game costs $60, which is kind of a lot of money. But you want to know something? You'll be getting a good deal out of this. You might be wondering, well, if it's a deluxe version, then what's new? Well, the only real new thing I can tell you is being able to play as Toadette, who is a new character, which, using the Super Crown, can turn into Peachette. And this, of course, also gave birth to Bowsette, an overused Mario meme. And yes, I had to say that. But yeah, really speaking, there's not a whole lot to this game. Really, a lot of it's just New Super Mario Bros. U again, but on the Switch. And Toadette as a character who's just an easy mode for the game if the game wasn't already easy enough. I already ended up beating the game pretty quickly. Now, yeah, I kind of rushed through parts of it, but still, I beat the game without too much hassle. But back to the content. really, you get a lot. Like, compare it to Kirby Star Allies, which the game, well, when it first came out, didn't have the most content it could have. With this game, you're paying $60 for pretty much the main game, New Super Mario Bros. U, which is 8 whole worlds with around 7 levels each. Roughly around that. And you have a lot of secrets and a lot of all that stuff. I'd estimate you could probably 100% that in maybe 12-ish hours or maybe 13 hours if you were really, really good at the game. But that's not all you get. You also have New Super Luigi U, which is pretty much the same thing except you play with Luigi's mechanics. And all the levels are differently designed. So basically, multiply that 14 or so by 2 and you get 28 hours. Which is still a lot. And that's not even all there is. You also have challenges, which are basically little things you can do, like beating this certain level within a certain amount of time. Or let's see how long you can make it without getting hit by a fireball from one of these fire brothers. There's a lot to keep you going. And comparing it to Star Allies, this game has way more content. Like, probably too much. Seriously, there's so much. So content-wise, really, really good. Even though it is $60, you get a lot out of it, considering you get both the original game and the DLC. Solid deal, if I do say so myself. Next, let's get into the soundtrack. Now, soundtrack-wise, I mean, it's okay, I guess. Really, there isn't much to say. I'm gonna go off on a limb here and say that the soundtrack isn't as good as it could be. I mean, it's not like the soundtrack is really, really bad or anything like that, but I don't know. I feel like they really could have done a better job comparing it to other games, but it's like, you know what? I mean, it doesn't sound awful, but it's just like, they should have put a little bit better songs in there. They should have put something at least catchy, because nothing really jumps out at me and makes me really think, catchy! But, yeah, that's all I have to say on that. And now, finally, let's get into my final thoughts. Now, if I wanted this or Super Mario Maker, I would have went with Super Mario Maker, but you know what? For what you're getting, you get a lot of fun time. You're going to have a great time with this game. It's a lot of fun for everyone in the family, or your friends, or whatever, the Nintendo way. It's really not that bad. Now, would I recommend this game? Well, if you already owned New Super Mario Bros. U and New Super Luigi U back on the Wii U, then I would not necessarily recommend this unless you want to play the game wherever you want, but that's what New Super Mario Bros. DS and New Super Mario Bros. 2 are for. But if you haven't played any of those games, if you haven't played any New Super Mario Bros. Games, well, give this one a try. I will say right now, it's nowhere near as good as Odyssey. Like, that's just easy. But you know what? It's not a bad game. I think it's a lot of fun. You'll have a lot of fun. On my scale of 0 to 10, I give this game a solid 7.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.